We bridge your knowledge to success.
Another episode of Adhitya Talks, and today we have Miss Radhika, and welcome to the show, ma'am. How are you doing?
Thank you. Very well. It's so good to see young people like you conducting such interviews, and I'm sure you'll go a long way doing this.
Thank you, ma'am. It is an honor to interview you today, and I hope I will learn a lot. And my viewers, stay tuned till the end because we are going to have a very interesting and fun discussion. Like to begin, can you tell us about your journey and how you got here? Um,
Yeah, so my journey has basically been revolving around content creation for about 5 years. I graduated in 2020 and started writing at a tender age of about 18. And it wasn't about writing poems or stories, but writing on a professional platform like LinkedIn, where usually people create their profiles when they want to get jobs or when they are working in some firm for better job opportunities. But I had nothing to lose, nothing to gain. The platform naturally came to me because I was a part of the entrepreneurship cell of my college. And as you know, how difficult is it as a student to raise money from companies. So LinkedIn was the only way to reach out to them. So the reason why I created the profile was that. And 6 months down the line, I thought that let's use the app which is in my phone for some better purpose than just writing to people and sending cold messages. So I remember my first post was on some philosophical content, which just attracted about 3 likes. And I was, of course, as any human would, I was disappointed because I put my heart and soul into it. I spent hours thinking, what will I write, and then finally write it. But then I understood that it's social media, you can't expect much out of it. And when you don't expect, you get much more than what you ever thought of.
yes.
So that thought naturally came to me that I need to maintain my consistency. And I always did it because I loved it, not because somebody else was telling it to me. Because I remember that I refrained writing on LinkedIn when my friend told me right after creating my profile. The reason why I took 6 months was because I was building my own self conviction that, okay, this platform can pay me well in terms of recognition and in terms of harnessing my writing skills, not in monetary terms ever. So just kept at it, and it's been 5 years now, thankfully. Been very organically growing on the platform and love everybody's support that I get on a daily basis. Whenever I go to some events, people recognize me and tell me that you write such good content. Please don't ever stop writing. So when you hear these things, you actually get to know what kind of impact have you created and are you creating. So it feels very nice, and I'm grateful for everything that LinkedIn has given me, including my first job opportunity at a law firm and also some other opportunities which have supported me in running my own startup now.
Okay, this was really interesting and very good perspective that there are many social media platforms. As just being a consumer is not everything. You
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
you have to produce as well. You have to contribute something to the platform as well. This is really interesting. And I also began on YouTube something like this only. My parents said that I'm watching so much hours of content on YouTube, and I was very fascinated by it, and I thought let's just do it at a young age. I don't have anything to lose. And I just began, and now I'm here. So,
Yeah, I mean, at your age and at my age back then, what worked in our favor is our age. We have lots of time in our hand. Because
yes,
if we were doing this at the age of 30 or maybe 40s, people would, of course, feel like they still say whatever they have to, but you yourself would feel like, am I doing the right thing or no? This is a very sweet spot for you, and being young is your biggest trump card. You have so much time to explore different things.
yes, it puts us in a position of empathy. We get empathy from people around us. So that gives us quite a substantial boost. Um,
Yeah.
so, first of all, ma'am, can you tell us about Radically Yours? It is your startup, and can you tell us about your journey on how you began it?
Yeah, so like I told you, I was working in a law firm, and one of the investors approached us at the law firm level that we are looking for good companies, and one of the founders also came to us saying that I'm looking to raise a round. I want money from investors. Can you help us out? So the partner gave it to me because I love networking and creating networks, and LinkedIn, of course, helps into that process. So I happened to connect a gaming company founder with lots of investors, both in India and abroad, which even his investment banker, whose job was to connect him to investors, couldn't do it. So I understood that the power of social media is almost similar to your power of real life based networks at times. And I started getting more queries that from founders who told me that why don't you also help us get money from investors through your network.
Yes.
So I only have 24 hours in a day as any human has, so I can only help so much. But because I wanted to help many more people and leverage my network, I built an institution out of it. Earlier, I was doing it as an individual effort, but now we have a team who looks at different pitch decks and different startups that come to us. So we are primarily supporting more women entrepreneurs given the different challenges they face with fundraising and networking. So we are supporting them, and it's just about connecting early stage startup founders with investors because that's where they face the most difficult time. They don't know where to go, where to head. So we are kind of becoming that guiding light.
Yes, so that is really interesting. So you help founders reach and help them implement their ideas and so that they can succeed and connect them
Yeah.
with like-minded individuals and investors who can support them throughout their journey. That is really interesting. And you have been. When did you begin this endeavor?
So we started last year only, towards the end of the year, and we are now focusing more on women entrepreneurs. So we have an interview series also called Wipe, which extends as Women in Private Equity and Enterprise, and the tagline is Wiping Out the Norm. So we cover stories of women who have wiped out the norm in their own fields, and some of the biggest names have come on our show, from Vani Kola, who's a leading investor in India, to India's first woman entrepreneur who became a part of the Unicorn Club. She was the founder at Shop Clues. Her name is Radhika, and we're very passionate about covering stories of women who are doing great and have broken all the barriers that they had. So
Yes.
that's what we're on to now.
Yes. So you inspire women across these many fields to disrupt and break the norm. That is really interesting. And you have supported many people throughout your journey in 1 year. What did you learn from this, and what was your learning? Um,
Yeah. So that's a nice question, and you can only learn in hindsight. You can't learn as much in the moment as much you can when you look back at things. So I've realized that building a team is not easy at all. You have to go through so many challenges yourself. You have to be a great leader in a way that you get the work done, but also don't hurt a person personally. So, how do you really conflict? How do you handle the conflict management at work in your own mind? And within yourself. So that was a challenging part for me because I'm also very young and learning how to be a good team leader for my team members. And one thing that I've learned is that always empower others and elevate them. Always make them think that they are the leader and you are their follower. Of course, the vision is yours and you can share it with others, but they need to also believe that it's their own venture. So, getting that into play is something that I learned through, of
yes.
course, different mentors that I had, and some videos that I watch on YouTube. It always helps. So yeah, that was the learning I took home.
Yes, this is really interesting. So you began a startup at a very young age. At the age people think that I have to earn this amount of money, I have to get into very big company, I have to earn a lot of money, and this is once like you are trying to support people who women across many industries. So this is really interesting and a very interesting perspective from a young individual like you. So first of all, you have done such a great work in this. How can we support you and how can we help your cause and learn from you?
We as in define what is we.
We meaning the people that are watching, people who are interested in supporting and learning more about your campaign and your
Yeah.
business. How can we support your
So we
program?
believe that, biases can only be addressed when stories are shared. And there are so many unconscious gender bias that women have to go through. In fundraising itself, women are asked that how will you be able to run your business after marriage, kids, or when you get pregnant, and people are just like, "What are you even saying? I'm here pitching before you so ambitiously. Why is this question even coming up? How is it relevant?" So all of that can only come up when we share stories through our voice and our community. So if you guys can also support it, spread the word across, more people get aware of how the world is and how they should also overcome the challenges they have after hearing such inspiring stories of women. Uh, I think that would be a good help that, just spread the word.
Yes. So you built your own community and your brand at a very young age. And this is really interesting. So, what factors do you think contributed to this growth and this learning you had at a young age? And how can other people replicate this in their own lives on something that they want to do?
Yeah. So I think three things worked in my favor. One is the consistency. I always stick at what I do. And the last mile delivery is very important. People love to start, they will come up with ideas, they will still start and execute it. But how many people finish it till the end and, take it to the market and run it sustainably? So always think long term, never think of short term gains because you will always otherwise only find for shortcuts. You will never take the right approach. And in going through that shortcut lane, you might end up hurting so many people because when you are just short term vision, you only think about yourself. But when you think of long term, you're thinking of everybody involved in the process and you want them also to grow with you. So I think that power of consistency and compounding is something that I've learned and want others also to replicate in whatever business they're doing because that's the basic of it. Then the second thing that I've learned from one of my mentors is that he keeps on saying that when you have an option to choose from being a great professional versus a great human being, always choose the latter. Choose to become a good human being, because your values are what will define you. You will have times when you might get more money in some situations and you will have to trade off with some of your team members or you will have to hurt some people in the process. So always choose the path where you earn a little less money but you are making other people's heart happy and making them smile. So for me impact is always more of a concern and a focus than money. So I think money, of course, is very important, but it shouldn't compromise the good things that you hold
Yes.
dear to yourself.
So first,
So
so what you're saying is, whenever you are building a brand or a business, have a foundation, build a foundation from the beginning. Don't rush it. Don't do everything fast. You have to learn and you have to help the people around you. You have to contribute to their growth as well as your own. Not single-minded approach like I have to grow this business in 1 year, 2 year to insane levels. And it is happening a lot in today's market. Companies are becoming unicorn within 1 year, 2 year, and this is really interesting. But they are also on the verge of closing. They have no profit.
yeah,
Ultimately, companies like Tata, and Reliance. These companies have built their foundation and they are sustainable, and they help their individuals, the people working under them. So it is really interesting, and I think this is a universal concept and applies to many things. After, like, of course, it applies to brands and businesses as well.
Yeah, but one more thing, which was my third point,
Yes.
which I'd like to close it with. It's important to discover yourself first before you go and build others. It's important that you put yourself in the right mental state, with the right surroundings before you tell others to improve themselves, because you can only build a team when you have built yourself. So focus on your own development first. Don't rush into things like you said. And once you know that you are an individual, you have a mind of your own, and nothing can compromise you, which is the external surroundings or your health, then you go ahead and do something.
Yes, I agree. So, first of all, one more question: important is authenticity when it comes to building a personal brand? Can you share with an example how being authentic has helped you create an impact with your work on LinkedIn and other sectors as well?
Yeah, I would say that authenticity is like a domino effect. The more you become authentic, the more results it give you. Because whenever you try to sell something which is second hand, people use it and throw it. But whenever you sell something first hand in the market, generally speaking, people cherish it. They won't throw it ever. Not just that, they will also speak about the product to others. So the word of mouth is much bigger into that. I'll give you an example. If you're just going to McDonald's versus a replica of McDonald's in some village, you will never speak about the fact that okay, you had this burger which was good in this village, but you'll always speak of McDonald's because you know that the authenticity with which they deliver the food and the value that they give to their customers is much more higher. So I think the loyalty that you want from your customers can only come with authenticity. And if we only speak of money, there are many inorganic ways and other ways, good or bad. I leave it to others for deciding. But there are different ways to grow, but that doesn't result into a sustainable, long term, and value driven growth. But if you are somebody who want people to remember you even when you're gone, when you want your institution to outlast yourself, then I think being authentic is extremely important, and I think it is very much important in today's world, at least for startups. And authenticity defines governance. Many people compromise on that. Governance, you should read stories of how companies fail because of bad governance. And
Yes.
everything could have gone right if they would have stayed authentic. But sometimes people get carried away by the worldly notions and the worldly pleasures and the desires. So I think that's why I said it's important to know yourself first, because if you know yourself, you wouldn't go on the wrong path and you would always like to stay authentic.
Yes, you should know that what you want to achieve, what is your ultimate goal, what is your why, and how you can achieve it, what are the means, and who are you targeting. So, first of all, whenever you begin a brand or you have a community of people that watch you, those people you have to cater to them first, not to the you have no, you don't have to think about the people that will come in the future. Cater to them, more people will come, and be authentic, support, and just deliver the best you can. So I agree with you on that. So next question: what role does effective communication play in building a personal brand? Can you share some tips on how to communicate effectively and build a strong connection with your audience, as we discussed before?
Yeah. So I think effectiveness comes with quality and consistency both. You can only be as good as your last post. Sometimes people don't have such a good memory that they will recollect everything that you've done unless you become Shah Rukh Khan, whose films people remember for years and years. But when you are starting out, effectiveness is very important, and time management plays a vital role in it. Sometimes I mismanage my time. Like, I have written such a good post, but I will leave it at the 90% mark. The last 10% of perfection, I will wait. I will keep on postponing, and then my day will get finished, and then I have to do it on the second day. The schedule just gets spoiled. So it's important that you figure out a time slot where you want to, research and write content in, and basis that you allocate your focus fully into that. Don't digress or distract yourself into other things. Sometimes when we don't have things planned, we tend to do everything at one go, and in that process, nothing gets done. So it's important that you know that you have to do this task, and there should be no other alternative कि okay ये नहीं हुआ तो कुछ और कर लेंगे. If you have that mindset, you will never give your 100%. You will always give your 99% to things. And it's that 1% that differs the successful people from the not so successful people. And that's why we only have the top creamy layer of 1% who are rich, famous, and impact creators. So the time is what differentiates people, I would say. And effectiveness is nothing for me but time management.
Yes. Just don't try to go the shortcut, as you said. Just do what you want to do, achieve, set a goal that I have to finish this by this time, and I have to finish. I want to make this impact on my audience. How can I convey it in a form that they will understand and I can write as fast as I can? So, next question. As we discussed before, about we having the leverage of on social media because of being young, how can other young people, how can other youth build their personal brand and create an impact with their words and speech?
Yeah. So the word personal brand is very fascinating because it covers the word person into it. And unless you know yourself, unless you know the person you are, you can't create your personal brand. And for me also, it was very difficult to figure out what I loved, what I didn't. And for that, exploring is very important. And since this advice is for younger people, I would say that try your hand at many things. And society might question you and judge you, will tell you that why are you getting your hands dirty? Why can't you choose a stable career path? And what's the need of opting for so many options? But you do what you have to do. Your mind should be fixated on one goal, that I have to build a brand of myself, and to get there I will explore everything that I have to. I will give you my example. When I clearly didn't know what to do in my career, and because my college offered so many good opportunities, we had different committees, be it for literature, art, finance, or entrepreneurship. I became a part of it all, and in the process, I lost on many friends also. So you need to keep in mind that to gain something, you also have to lose something. And what's more important is that don't lose your heart in the process. Many things might come and go, but you yourself need to be there in your own shoe. Be there as a strong individual for yourself. And everybody would tell me, that why are you wasting your time in so many committees? And people would also point at me कि ये देखो इसको ये इधर भी आ गई है. She was there already in 2-3 committees, and now she's here also. She has too much extra time to herself. All those comments people pass on, but you just have to ignore it and follow your own path. Have a deep self conviction that what you're doing will give you good results. So I remember in the library I would sit. People would study for their CA or CFA exams. I, of course, felt like, okay, they will build a great career for themselves 10 years down the line. What am I doing? But I still believed that, okay, it's fine that if I don't have a career path, what I have is now. I have the present in my hand. Let me change it for myself. And since LinkedIn was my focus area, I would sit in the library, research for hours, and write down my posts. I started with philosophy, moved on to current affairs, where I covered the news, and now I'm doing business stories and startup stories of founders.
Yes.
So I have tried my hand at different areas to understand what I like as a person, because consistency cannot come unless you love something. And you can only love something when you know that you enjoy doing it. So do everything and you will understand what you don't like and what you like. And I
Yes.
think when you discover that and when you keep at it, that's when you build your personal brand.
Yes. So at a young age, the key is to experiment because you have a lot of time. You have to find what you like, what you want to do. And when you find it, just work hard for it. Have a strong conviction. Find your why you want to do it. And do not listen to the other world, other people, and just focus on yourself, dive within, and work hard. So I think that is really interesting. Um, Moving on, can you tell us about some common mistakes that young people can make when they try to build their personal brand on social media platforms, and how can they avoid these mistakes to grow?
Yeah, when you're young, you actually want to be all over the place. You want to be seen by the world. Sometimes the biggest mistake people make is that, oh, what if I do something and log kya kahenge? That mindset comes into the picture. And so many young people don't realize that nobody knows them, yet they are so publicly conscious of doing everything. इतना तो कॉन्शियस नो लीडर इज. मोदी भी इतना कॉन्शियस नहीं है जिसको सब लोग जानते हैं. He still does what he wants to, right? People might say anything about him, but he still wants to do what he wants to do. So I
Yes.
think the biggest mistake people make is this. And lots of my friends and I also have made this mistake. Sometimes we would not go out for a good opportunity because we think that, okay, what will my friend think about this? Will he approve of my behavior? What will my parents say? This, that, all of those thoughts cross our mind, but we just need to tell ourselves that, okay, if an opportunity is good, we need to go for it if we feel it is right. We can't, walk on a path which the society tells us to. We need to walk on a path which we think is right for us. And
Yes.
sometimes it's okay to tell your parents also when they are being very strict with you. And we need to understand they come from a different generation. Some parents are very supportive, some people are against. Like, for example, in Ritesh Agarwal's case, when he wanted to start Oyo, his father told him that, why are you doing this? Don't do this. It will not help you. How will you build a family? And today you see where he is. Just because he just followed what he wanted to do and he followed his heart. So I think that young people like you should look up to such visionaries who have set a good path for themselves and not get digressed or distracted by what others say. I think that's the only advice that I would want to give, because everybody has their own path to follow, right? You might want to become a fashion designer, your friend might want to get into politics or start a bakery for herself or himself. So there's no set formula to it, but this is a core value that every Bhagavad Gita or your Bible or Quran, everybody speaks of this value that follow your own path, and that's the same advice I'd like to give.
Yes. Um, Being conscious of your environment is like one of the uh, biggest mistakes you can make because you don't have a very big career. You have not come on a position that makes you visible to the world. And when you try to change yourself, try and experiment other things, and learn more about the world, you will grow from the inside, and that will lead to you being successful in whatever field you want, and ultimately being happy. And that is the ultimate goal.